And we are going. What is going on with everybody? It is your boy Eric, aka Young God, coming to you live in the Green Dungeon, giving it to you real raw, rugged man. Haven't had a I went to the barbershop in a minute. This is brother on the phone like he done got a goddamn clean cut, man. That boy that's smooth, man. So I'm gonna let the boy
Yo, shout
introduce
out,
himself, man. Who we got on the line right now?
shout out my man Jaquel, man. I am Devin Morrison. What's poppin'?
That's the barber.
Yeah, that's my barber.
That boy did his thing, man. My
He,
barber.
he, and this is like a week old cut, so you know.
I think I called you when you was getting your haircut. Like the first time I called you, I think he was like, "I'm gonna call you after I get done doing this haircut." So,
Right, exactly. Yep.
hey man, nigga, tell Jack I hit my line, man. I need that boy to get me right, man. That boy got them put
Hey,
you together, boy.
look, whenever you back in LA, Jay, I got you.
For sure, man. For sure. Hey, man. I think I like to bond with people over this, and I think you just kind of brought it right there. You just called me Jit, and if I'm not mistaken, you're from Florida, right?
Yeah,
From Florida as well. So I love to, you know what I'm saying, have that Florida connection, man. And
for sure.
going to LA, I went there for the first time last year, and I hated it. It was
Really?
not what I was expecting.
You was
Um,
probably around some weird dudes.
I
or
was around I was living around what's that place called? Melrose. I was around there. Is that a
yeah.
weird spot
For me,
for you?
for me, I just feel like Melrose is like the mecca of black men with white women, next to Phoenix. So I feel like you're gonna get that when you go there. You're gonna get that whole vibe. You know, dudes in Lamborghinis that they rented for the weekend. They just flexing around the block. So I don't know. I don't know if that was your experience, but every time I go there, I'm like, I gotta leave.
Well, the first thing I noticed, well, not the first thing, but one of the first things I noticed, being from Florida, Jacksonville, Florida to be specific, a
You
lot of
you're from Florida?
I'm from Jacksonville. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Oh,
That's what I was saying. The bond, you from Florida, I'm from Florida.
oh
That's what I was
shoot!
saying.
I didn't even realize.
Nigga ain't even
Man,
realize what I was saying.
my bad. I didn't even realize you were from. Okay,
I'm from
let's go.
Jackson. I'm from Jacksonville.
go, go
So
Jags, man.
one of the first things I noticed being from Jacksonville, when you come down here, there's a lot of black women, and it's a lot of thick black women, a lot of nicely built black women.
Yes.
Everybody down there looked like cokeheads and vegans, and I was like, "Yo, where's the thickness? What's going on here?" That was one of the first things I noticed. So when you see black dudes with white women, I did see a lot of things that like I would imagine, like when girls go to LA or when they want to model, they got that body type in mind, like the
Mm-hmm.
skinny. That's what LA reminded me of. Like, oh, okay, so this what girls mean when they say they want to get skinny and get that model body. It was all I seen. I was like, yeah, it's something I'm not used to when I'm looking at women
Mm-hmm.
down here. So it was a lot.
I mean, I feel like there's definitely a sect of LA that's like that, but the real parts of LA, like if you ever want to know what real LA feels like, go to Leimert Park. Like
Mm.
next time you come out here, hit me up. I'm gonna take you to Leimert Park, and Leimert Park, you're just gonna see a plethora of just beautiful black people,
Yeah,
like
for sure.
women. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna see, I mean, natural, good skin. You know, healthy looking. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's that part. But
I
if you're up in the hills, Hollywood,
I need that energy, man. I need to be where you at, man. You sound like you can goddamn Fast and Furious set right now. I hear niggas doing donuts and burnouts and goddamn outside, man.
it's
Nigga
a
got Vin
vibe,
Diesel and that
man. You
motherfucker
know,
going crazy outside, man. So, but nah,
it's
next
a
time I'm out
vibe.
there, I would definitely let you know, man. I was supposed to be out there recently, but pandemic, of course, just kind of messed
Oh,
everything
for
up.
sure. It's
So,
all good.
but I definitely will let you know. But yeah, man, I didn't even ask you this. For the people watching this that's not familiar with who you are, just explain a little bit what you do before we get into this.
Um, what do I do? I forgot. Um, I'm a musician, a composer, artist. I I guess I sing. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Um, yeah, I've been making beats for a long time, and then when I was 18, I was like, all right, I'll start composing,
Mm.
and that's when I started writing for like orchestra and stuff. And went to college for it. Then after college, I was like, all right, let me see if I can try to blend all parts. So now, for the time being, I make R&B music.
Wait, man, I want to dive deep into that, man, and how I discovered you. Before I do that, though,
Yeah.
people watching, they probably see I got a smile on my face because literally right when you got into this, we were talking about black men, white girls. Somebody is gonna pop up on the screen. Somebody saved in my phone name is white girl was calling me. So, so it's literally like we set this up.
My dude got
That's
a girl
really
saved
funny.
his phone as a white girl.
And she's a Jamaican black woman. That's the funny part. She's not even white at all. I fuck with her, call her white girl, but that's really funny.
That's
Niggas
hilarious.
was like, damn, well,
Uh,
that's one of them coon ass niggas Devin was talking about. Oh, that's funny as hell, man. That is funny, man. But
oh man.
man, back to you, man. I kind of want to talk about how I even discovered you in the first place. So, what is it, 2021? So probably around 2019, 18ish. I
Mm.
review music, so a lot of people was like, "Yo, you should look up Devin. He makes music, blah 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 blah." So when you released Bussin, I was like, "All right, I just got something on Apple Music. I'll give it a spin." And that was my
Yeah.
first play. And I kid you not, man. I feel like when people talk about this word that I'm finna use, it has to
Uh,
have a couple things attached. And since that album is so, I think it's slept on. I can't. I
okay.
don't. I know I get backlash for saying this, and it doesn't have some of the stuff that it needs to be classified as. But I don't care. I think that album is an R&B classic of the 2010s, and the only reason I'm hesitant to say about it is because a classic has to have a major impact and do this and that or whatnot. But
Mm.
nigga, that album needs major impact. Like, if you were to somehow get 1 million followers tomorrow, you need to re-release that so the people can hear "Be Alright" with you, nigga. I'll be alright, girl. Nigga, that is like every song on there is crazy, and I talk about R&B a lot and why it's not to where I think it should be. And that album is everything that I think R&B should be when it's coming from
Thanks, man.
a black male in our community. So before we get into this, I just want to let you know that I think that album is a classic, bro. It's a
I really
classic.
appreciate that, man. It's very kind of you.
Only thing it's
Uh,
missing is the recognition, bro. That's the only every from the features, the songs, the quality, the time length is perfect. The album cover, you know, some smooth. Oh, I'm in the goddamn mirror with it. Like, it's everything smooth with it, bro. So I just want to let you know that, man. Classic, bro.
Thank you, man. It was a learning experience for sure because I was having a hard time calling myself an artist at that time. Like
Mm.
I was literally kind of just singing these songs because I was the closest person there that could hold a note. So it was like, all right, let me just, you know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I feel like I'm more so a songwriter or whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun making the record. Uh, the one thing I do wish I would have paid more attention to is just the visuals and everything. Like I said, it was a learning experience. Like it was my first time even doing this. Um, so now I'm working on curating more of that and righting some of my wrongs. But thank you.
Of course, bro. You got some of the smoothest shit. Like, I could tell, like, you smooth dude, man. I'm looking at the bed sheets, nigga. You got like, what is this, like velvet
Oh
bed
man,
sheets right here, bro? Like,
hey, this is nothing,
this
man.
nigga here too smooth. Nigga, I called you to remind you about the interview, and it went to voicemail. I guess y'all do not disturb. Even the voicemail, he was like, "Yeah, it's Devin at the beat." What you say? Do your thing. I'm like, bro, look at this pimpin' ass nigga right here, bro. This nigga is too smooth, bro. Everything about you is just smooth, bro. That shit
Man,
crazy, man. That
thanks.
shit crazy, man. And I want to talk about just on some music shit on why I think I like Bussin' so much. So
That
me and my ex, we used to jokingly like this song, but it actually became a song that we really liked. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but it's a Brian Knight song, and it's called it's called "Let Me Show You How Your Pussy Works."
oh my gosh,
Are you familiar with that?
absolutely. When that song came out, so Brian went to the same college I did, which is
Okay,
Oakwood University.
okay,
So his brother Claude is in Take Six, and Take Six is like Oakwood royalty. So when that song came out, I was still in college, and like it's like you could tell everyone in the department had heard it, and this is like a Christian school, so so we're all just like, "Did you hear it?" And we're like, "Yeah," and we were all just mad because it's a jam, but I'm like, "Dang, bro."
And it's funny because when I listen to this album, okay, so a song like Guaranteed, when I hear Guaranteed, it reminds me of Let Me Show You How Your Coochie Works, but just somebody that, cause like, it seems like Brian McKnight was like playing. He's so talented. Like even when he playing, it sounds good.
Yeah.
But it sounded like you were more focused and serious on Guaranteed. But it gives me it's the certain things you do with your voice and the way the way the chorus hit. I'm like, damn, this reminds me. I was like, I hope this thing don't take this as disrespect because that song is ridiculous. But that song is amazing still because it's like it's Brian McKnight. You feel me?
Yeah.
And that's what it reminded me of. That's what's so.
You know, it's funny you say that because I feel like a lot of my best work is when I'm playing. You know what I'm saying? When I'm not taking myself too seriously, I'm still focused. You know, there's a quote by one of my favorite creators named Bill Wirtz. He's like,
I'm gonna let you finish.
Okay, but yeah, he's like, the work doesn't have to be serious. You just have to be serious about it. So, so I kind of stand by that.
That's crazy. You mentioned him for two reasons. One, there's a song on here. Damn, I forget to write it down. But I was like, damn, because you have your own sound. Like, it's really hard for me to compare with anybody. The only two people that I would compare you with that I'm like, okay, I can hear that. Like, sometimes I'm like, damn, that sounds like some Brian McKnight shit that I like. And it's one song in here I cannot remember it where I'm like, damn, this sounds like some Thundercat shit. And I say that, and it's funny because I feel like Bill Wirtz is like Thundercat if he was a white man. That's what he reminds me of. that's exactly who he is. And I lit up when you said Bill Wirtz because I interviewed Bill Wirtz, which is
really
crazy, bro.
How was that,
nigga? I don't know. It never came out because he was like, afterwards he was like, you know what? I don't like this interview. He was like, let me edit it for you and I'll send it to you. And I was like, you're gonna edit our interview? He was like, yeah, I'm gonna edit it. I was like, all right, do your thing. He never got back to me because I wouldn't expect Bill Wirtz to get back to me. That's some Bill Wirtz shit. So I'm like, all right, bet. He didn't get back to me. But I interviewed Bill Wirtz and nobody's ever heard that before. So that's interesting you bring him up. That's funny.
Wow. Where does this nigga live?
Bro, it was like an hour interview, a long-ass interview. And I call him and he's like, yo, keep this number top secret. He was like, everything is confidential. It's like just some super like top secret CIA shit. And I'm like, yo, I'll fuck with this nigga. He crazy, bro. That white nigga crazy.
He's one of a kind, man. He's definitely one of a kind.
For sure.
I feel like he's one of those people like you admire so much, but like if you bring him to the party, he might scare away all those. But
he's one of those people that like you know, like there's some people that I don't want to ruin their mystique. You know, you ever have that? Like, I want that nigga to remain anonymous, and I feel like that about him. Like, there's a couple people that's like Jay Electronica. I'm a big Jay Electronica fan. I don't want Jay Electronica to start doing buku interviews. I like that he just playing the background, talking about Farrakhan every day. Like, cool, do your thing. Like, I like that about you. And that's the one thing I like about Bill Wirtz. And I could see you and Bill Wirtz coming out with some interesting music. Would you be down to collab with him if you ever reached out?
Totally. I would totally be down. I don't know how he feels about collaboration because he doesn't work with anybody.
That's a fact.
So, and honestly, I'm starting to kind of crack down on collaborations too, just because for the world I'm trying to create, I'm trying to get myself out of this box that people have put me in. So,
what box did it put you in?
Oh my God, it gives me such 90s R&B vibes, which is it's fine. Yeah. It's fine. I get it. I totally understand. But like I said, like this was just kind of an avenue that I just kind of took just because my homie was listening to a bunch of 90s R&B, obscure 90s R&B stuff, and I was listening to a lot of commission, so it made sense for that to reflect my music, you know, but now I'm listening to some other things, so, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if people start seeing, you know, a different side, or maybe even disappointed. That's fine too, as long as I'm not.
So Bussin is not going to sound like your next album, is what you're saying, basically. You're trying to get away from
this next record will have a similar vibe to Bussin somewhat,
Yeah.
but it'll be elevated. It'll just kind of be like, okay, so Bussin is to Charmander. What this next record is to Charmeleon. Thank you.
Okay. So you're finna. Okay, I like that.
Evolve it.
You finna evolve it.
Evolve it.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that I interviewed like I've interviewed people that like niggas from Pro Era, like Joey Badass and them. And like they really don't like when niggas be like, yo, you sound like a '90s rapper or whatever, which I get. Like I get why niggas wouldn't like that. But I feel like a positive way to look at that is if they're comparing you to like there was so much quality music that came out in the '90s. So if they're comparing
Absolutely.
you to like quality artists, like your production,
Yeah.
you know who your production remind me of? If I had to compare, and I don't even like comparing niggas, but if we talking about comparing niggas to '90s niggas, you remind me of Jay Dilla. You got like a Jay
Word.
Dilla type of thing going on, like with your production. And damn, what's the song? It's is it? I don't want to say it wrong. I gotta look at it real quick. No, that's some
Mm.
Dilla shit right there. You feel me? And it's like this shit is crazy. And the fact that you can go back and forth with the rap production, the R&B production, that showed me like yo, he not one of them regular ones. You feel me? Like, you got something going on, and I appreciate that, man. All hail to you, man. You feel
Nah,
me,
man.
man?
Praise the Lord. I'm trying to figure this thing out. It's weird because I feel like I take from a lot of different producers. Like on that album, you're hearing influence from Dilla, of course. You're hearing influence from Chucky Booker.
Mm,
You're hearing influence from Battle Cat.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Shout out Battle Cat.
shout out Battle Cat. That's one of my favorite guys right there. Yeah, man. I mean, I just kind of I get inspired. Like you may see me get inspired by Rob Zombie, and it's just like, boom, this nigga sounds like Rob Zombie now.
But no, I would never say that because when you do like remind me of somebody, I don't ever think like, oh man, this nigga just doing a rip off of this person. You'd be like, okay, I can tell he probably got influence, but it's not to the point where it's like overbearing or it's just a copycat. You feel me? Like I can tell you may have heard some shit. You like, all right, but you put your own spin to it. There's certain niggas that I can tell that they listen to this artist or this song and just remade a version of that song. And it's like I don't want to hear this. I don't feel that with you, so I feel like that's a plus.
Thank you. That's individuality is pretty important to me, so I appreciate that.
That's a fact, and even going back in like your because after that I had to dig, and I was like, all right, let me see what else you got, and just go into like your Bandcamp stuff, and it's like, damn, I don't see niggas talk about this that much. This shit might be better some shit on Bussin'. Like what? Like this, like it's crazy, bro. And it's like I don't know. Do you ever feel like? Because I would imagine that. You know, I mean, I don't know how humble you are, but you gotta sometimes feel like, man, I am better than a lot of these R&B niggas. Do you ever feel like certain parts of your catalog is like slept on versus other parts? Like, do you feel like Bussin' is at this and like your Bandcamp is at that? Because I feel like it's some shit on your Bandcamp that needs to be like hyped up just as much as Bussin'.
I'm not upset because a lot of my favorite artists are very, very prolific, and I don't find myself to be prolific yet.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I look at someone like Ryuichi Sakamoto, you know, and his work ethic, to someone like even Knowledge, who just got a bunch of beat tapes and everything. So it's like, I think, you know, I know my strengths, you know, I'm talented and I can do this thing, whatever, but at the same time, it takes forever for me to drop things, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a weakness that I'll admit. You know, I'm such a perfectionist,
Yeah.
so I'll spend forever on one song and then take a break and then get back into it, you know what I mean? So I'm working on it.
You know, you talk about all these different artists, and this is really random, but you seem like a person that's very easy to talk to, so I'm curious about this right here. So there's this artist that I feel like is very talented. Don't know how much you listen to him, but I feel like his sound can get stagnant because he works with a lot of the same people. And I feel like if he worked with you and he switched it up, and you didn't even got to be on the song, you just produce something for him, I feel like it could really bring out something really interesting in this person. Is there any person that fits that description? Well, I'm gonna just say it. Rod Wave. I don't know if you ever listened to Rod Wave before. You know Rod Wave?
I wasn't ready.
You wasn't ready for Rod Wave? I said some off the wall shit, ain't
I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, what's he finna say? Rod Wave. Oh, okay. Uh, man, shout out Rod Wave, man. I like Rod Wave. I would definitely do some work with him. You know, I. He's so Florida, man. I love it. Like
So Florida, right?
he's a Florida boy through and through. And yeah, man, I feel like I haven't done a lot of work with like Florida artists, like for real. And I don't know. You know how it is. Like Florida, people can be really divided and overly competitive and not willing to work with each other.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe that's part of it. But yeah, I'd be down.
I wish Florida had more of a, because it's a rap scene, but I wish you had more of an R&B scene. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's very few far in between artists that I feel like are putting out great R&B music. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not tapped in because you made it look like I wasn't tapped in.
I made it look like I'm trying to think.
Oh, okay. You got you. I'm
gonna say you got you.
I honestly think Rod Wave can sing his ass off.
Yeah.
Who else? There's this one dude that nobody knows about that I'm gonna send you him when we off of here. A nigga named Matt Clare. When I mean he is like, he sound like Drew Hill on acid in 2021. If that makes any types of sense to you, it is very interesting.
That
music.
does. That kind of reminds me of Clark in the Community. I don't know if you know about him.
Who does this?
Clark in the Community is really dope. He's it sounds like that. Drew Hill. I'll send it to you. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, we'll exchange some shit. But yeah, just like just thinking about Florida, it's not a lot of artists. And just looking at the artists that's on Bussin', I mean, you obviously got a ear for talent. Like, you got Joyce Rice. That was my first time hearing about her on that album.
Oh, really?
And I mean, her new album, I don't know if you got a chance to hear it yet. Great. I love her.
Yes.
I love her lifestyle.
I got some work on there.
You do. You got some work on, bro. You got some work on some of my favorite shit of 2021. Now I think about it. You worked on the Van Jess shit, bro. I love Van Jess.
Oh, word.
Yeah. We'll get into that later. I want to talk about,
Jess.
before we get into that, I want to talk about some of my favorite songs on Bussin'. If there's any stories behind them,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying. So just go from there. So let's look through there. Shit, we'll start with you, man. I love you and her going back and forth with the head over heels. That shit, that fire, man. I love that. So I don't know if there's any backstory on that or anything, but love that song, man.
You know what kind of just hit me is that With You is one of the only songs on the record that I had like vision for.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I call my sound Dream Soul, and I feel like With You is a pretty good representation because I wanted to create a moment, even with this, little pre-chorus that's going through all these different chord changes. I'm like, I want to kind of take them somewhere. I want to take them on a ride and then land safely in this cozy, whatever. But how it came about is, this was maybe like my second week in LA, and I had known about Joyce, you know what I'm saying? But I guess a friend of hers had showed her the song, That Saw, one of my songs called That Saw.
Yeah.
And she liked it, she posted it on her Instagram, and I'm like, yo, like, let's tap in, let's link up. So she was down, and I pretty much took the Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis route where we go get some food. And we went and got food like twice. I think first time we went to Watt's Coffee House, Bussin'. Second time we went to Mario's Peruvian restaurant, also Bussin'. And then I think that day we was like, all right, I got this song I would for you to get on. She heard it, she loved it. We pretty much wrote the verses together, actually. Yeah. So
how does that go? I've never written a verse with anybody. Like, is it like I say a line and you say the next line? Like, how does that work?
It's weird. It's like, it depends on who you're with.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, it's like natural. It's like you're sharing a brain.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it was with me and her. Like, we were able to just kind of riff and edit and just like say little tidbits. I'll write a line and she'll come up with something and we'll edit each other. With some people it's just like, It's not about it,
But
But
she was
for
perfect,
her,
though.
she was great. She was great. She's a way better writer than she gives herself credit for.
Mm. Yeah,
Put that.
she's gonna be a star, bro. Like she got Freddie
Oh yeah,
Gibbs on the tape. I mean,
yeah.
she's out of here. I'm. Hey,
She's
so,
out of here. I
I
can't
love.
wait.
I know it got to be great to tap in with somebody like before they blow up. Be like, "Ooh, I'm glad I got that like phone number before they blew up," because like when they had 3-4 million followers, you're like, "God damn, I wish I could have worked with them." But like to catch them right before they, you know what I'm saying, rocket ship,
Hmm.
that's always
Hmm.
perfect, man. Because that's a beautiful connection. Like I can't wait to hear what y'all got next, and you know what I'm saying? Because what you I forget what did you do on her last album? Because I remember seeing your name somewhere.
So basically, me and Ringo and Joyce are working on a project. My design, and Joyce are working on a project, and that's pretty much like a teaser. is
Wow,
a is a little interlude on there. It's literally just like a little teaser to the next record. So
it's crazy.
our next record collectively.
That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it sounded pretty good.
I can tell the way you said, just a little teaser. I mean, you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. Like y'all don't even know what to expect. That's gonna be hard. I can't wait to hear that one.
People have been pretty eager to hear it, so I'm like, let's
For
go.
sure, for sure. What's another song? I was just singing that a couple minutes ago. That song I feel like is another special one where you tapped into something different right there. I don't know if you were in a different zone that night, or if that was just a regular night at the studio, but I really enjoyed that.
Oh no, that was 10 minutes after a breakup that I wrote
Mm.
that. So yeah, I literally I quoted the text like, "Thank you for everything." She hit me with that, and I was just like, "Dang."
It's crazy.
So yeah, I wrote it immediately after,
So
and
I've never done anything after heartbreak or breakup or anything like that. So is it? I would imagine you can capture that raw emotion right there. But is there any difficultness of like capturing it and putting it on paper or putting it in a actual verse?
I mean, it was weird for me. It was like I was kind of bummed out, but I wasn't like, I was just like heartbroken.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, I was more upset because she was fine, but I mean, I don't know. I used to be the kind of guy where when I get sad, I just be sad. I
Yeah.
just like be sad for the day. But I have a friend who's not like that, so I kind of see how she works. She'll like try to work her stuff out of her sadness. So that was just kind of me trying to channel it, and yeah, it wasn't necessarily hard. I was just like, let me just try to do something with this energy.
Is that normal? Do you usually put that energy into songs? Like not even just sad energy, but just like if you want to capture, if you want to get rid of something, if it's bad or negative or positive, do you just say, "Oh, I'm gonna make a song," or do you have other avenues you put that energy into?
That's the main. I have two avenues that I take out my emotions on: music and Tekken.
You good at taking?
Oh man, I was just on a 16 win streak. You know what I'm saying? I'm not to toot my own horn, but I pride myself on being someone who doesn't curse too much. But if I'm playing Tekken, forgive me,
We might have to
because
run into some taking, bro.
yeah, oh for sure, I'm down.
We might have to run into some taking,
No,
man. That's
catch these L's.
That's funny. Usually when I interview people, I'm usually telling them I watched them at basketball, but hey, I like games too, bro. I like Tekken and all that.
Yo,
So we could do that too. Man, you hoop it all?
yes, the hoop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's been a minute though. I ain't gonna lie. Like it's been a while since I hooped. Like I miss hooping.
Are you
But
you like a shooter? Like what would you say your game is?
I think my game is more so in driving in.
Oh, you're a driver.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Hey, man.
driving in. I got a little post game.
Hey,
You know.
man, we can set it up so I could goddamn send your shit.
Bruh,
Nigga, you feel me,
come
man?
on.
We could do that,
Ready for
man. No,
alley oop.
hey, we could do that, man. I feel like, damn, bro, since COVID happened, there's been so much like hooping and just different stuff that were normal day occurrences that it's not normal anymore, man. Is there anything else like that in your life where it was just normal that for you to do this, but now COVID has hit, it's like it's kind of messed it up a little bit or changed it?
A little bit. Traveling. That's
Mm,
probably the biggest thing. I miss that more than anything.
yeah.
Um, Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, I feel like we should all take this time to utilize it, utilize having to be home and build something. Build something that we can only be home to do. So, yeah, that's what I've been on.
That's a fact. I feel like definitely it showed me that a lot of people can't stay in the house though. A lot of people are addicted to outside. Like people like in
Yeah,
Florida, bro. I don't know how it was in LA. 1 week after the like pandemic started, it's pandemic parties and COVID part. It was all type of crazy stuff. So yeah, I do agree.
yeah,
People do need to need to try to learn how to be with themselves. I feel like that was a very good asset to life, learning how to be with one.
yeah. It's necessary because we got here dolo. So, for the most part, we got here dolo. Um, so it's like, and we're dolo when we die. So it's like, you know, learn who you are. This past month, I've been learning a lot about myself and just being honest with myself about things. Because from there, it's much easier to be honest with other people.
That's
You
a
know,
fact.
so
I've never been locked up, but I've been around people that's locked up. And if jail don't teach you nothing, it teach you how to be patient. Those are some of the most patient people I've ever been around in my life. Those
oh, you
people.
was locked up in Florida.
I've never been locked up. No, I've never been
Oh,
locked up. I
okay.
said I've
I'm
been
about to
around
say.
people.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say, Dad, what was that like, bro? I'm about
Listen,
to interview you. What it was like in Florida.
your
What do
perception
you
was finna
got?
change. Like, damn, this nigga crazy. Nah, I've never been locked up, but I've been around a lot of people who have been locked up, and
Yeah.
they just some of the most patient people I've ever been around. People that are very even introspective. You know what I'm saying? Like they ain't complain about nothing. So yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like a lot of
they
people
had to
can't.
wait.
Nigga, did they? Did they? So yeah, that's
Man.
all you got is patience. But another song on there is the self titled track "Bussin." Another
Mm.
classic, man. I feel like was that pushed as a single at the time? I don't really remember if it
No,
was. It
not even.
wasn't. Mm.
That was just an album cut. It came like way later in the album. Like I made it after the album was almost done. And I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely listening to Jodeci prior to making
Mm.
it. Um, to me, I was laughing the entire time making that song because I'm talking about food and everyone thinks I'm talking about sex.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
That's
like
what I thought you were
that's
talking about. I'm not gonna hold you.
yeah. I got a couple songs like that where I'm talking about food and people think I'm being sexual. I'm like, not quite, but sure. If it works in the bedroom, go ahead.
I mean, I was literally trying to hurry up and eat my Publix sub before this interview started. So I mean, I definitely feel the food needs. I know it's not a Publix out
Bro,
here in LA,
look,
but shout out to the Publix.
look. If you feel the need to take a bite while I'm talking, please
No, we're
do.
good. I finished it. I went
Oh,
crazy. It was
okay.
bussing. It was bussing too. I'm straight though.
Let's go,
It's all
bro.
good.
Public sub. You know how much I miss some
I
things,
know.
man.
I can imagine. I can imagine how much you miss it, man.
Did you get the chicken tender joint?
Come on, bro. I ain't even a question, bro. You already know what's going on. You already know that's what I got, man. You already know,
Oh
man.
man.
It's the best,
Oh man. You done took me back. You done messed me up.
bro. Shit, now that gave me new perspective that song is actually about food now. So now every time I eat, I can just I'm gonna go crazy with that song playing in the background, man. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I mean, what's funny is okay. So I first heard the term busing 2016, maybe. In Florida, of course.
Yeah.
I was home, and I was getting some wings from this wing spot up in the garden, and my boy had came in. I didn't even know he was in the area. He pulled up, and I'm like, "Yo, what up?" And I'm eating these wings. He was like, "Man, them Jones are busting." I'm just like,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I heard it several times after that, and I was like, "Man, I've never heard this word except for like over here." So
It's
yeah, no,
crazy to see Florida slang go like nationwide, man.
worldwide, bro.
Worldwide.
It's weird. Have you been on TikTok?
I just created TikTok yesterday. It's really funny you asked that. Yo.
It's weird. There's so many videos where people are like saying food is busting. Like, I'm like, this is wild.
Now you know it's weird hearing rappers use the word jit now. Everybody says jit, and I'm like, yo, that's crazy.
Whoa,
You haven't heard
damn.
rappers say that?
I've heard like Florida
No,
rappers
no,
say
no,
it.
no, 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 no. I'm talking about like people from New York be like jit and stuff like that. It's disgusting. Actually, I'm not gonna hold you. It's really. I didn't heard people say jit. I didn't heard people say green, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Y'all not even from Florida, so yeah, it's out there.
See, I wouldn't have a problem with this if everyone wasn't talking trash about Florida all the time. It's like, keep that same energy if you're gonna steal our slang. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all don't like us. Y'all want us out of the dog. Y'all want us out of the United States.
Bro,
But y'all want to use our words.
I done seen that Bugs Bunny gift so many times where he cutting off Florida every time something bad happened. I know you done seen that gift before, bro.
Yes. And I understand.
I
mean,
get
Florida be on some BS sometimes, but hey, then leave Jit alone.
Leave Jit alone is hilarious.
Leave Jit, Bread, freaking Slide, Green, Bussin. Leave all of that out of your vocabulary.
You know who's the first non-Florida rapper I heard say jit, which is even more funny? It was Post Malone. Out of all people, he said jit on a song. Somebody sent it to me. That was like, "Hey, bro, fast forward to 42 seconds and hear what he said." I'm like, "All right," and then he was like, "All these jits running around."
Wow.
Oh,
Dang,
this
folks.
is crazy,
Well,
man.
I guess that's how it is.
That's
man.
how it is. But it's funny you say Bussin was you were listening to Jodeci because I guess I can hear that now that you say that. But you know who was the first person to come to mind? It was Tony Tone Tone. It was I think that's a Tony Tone Tone song with the whatever you want.
Mm.
That reminded me of that. I was like, damn, this. I don't know if this is like an inspiration of that song, but I was like, that shit's fire, and that's really what like got me to like love Bussin' because I love that song. So I was like, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess it does have a similar, vibe to it. I wasn't thinking about that song when I made it, but I totally, yeah, that makes sense.
And like I said, I hate to compare things. I know artists don't really like that and never disrespect or trying to say like, oh, you're so. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like you do a lot of stuff that pulls back from great nostalgia of mine. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reasons why I like you, like Jay Dilla or that song. You know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that. I'm like, damn, he is like this. I like it so much because I can attach it to a previous event or memory, and I feel like that will always make things better when you could do that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the world has a affinity for nostalgia. I mean, you look at all these filters that we use and all these emulations, whether it's game or film, whatever. So we always want our things to look more classic because, and this is my opinion, but I feel like a lot of the content that tends to come out doesn't have the content. The content doesn't have the content that makes it classic. So we try to find out other ways to make it look more classic or, that kind of thing. So for me, I'm like, all right, I'd rather take the appropriate steps to make it just good content, whether it's music or, some of the photo shoots I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, let me try to make sure it's a good thing. That's what makes it classic. Is it good?
Yeah.
What we remember it. All right.
It's almost like my topics because you literally transition into the perfect thing that I want to talk about because I don't want to keep it for too long. But if I don't talk about nothing, I feel like talk about this with somebody like you. I'm very interested on your perspective. And when you're speaking on classic things, I spent 4 hours with my mother on Sunday. Was that Sunday? It was Sunday. Watching the Isley Brothers and Earth, Wind, and Fire versus match. And to hear those songs, it's like, bro, those are timeless classics. And you say that today's content does not have the content. I know exactly what you mean. Because when you listen to those songs, bro, they were playing songs. Somebody they said the Isley Brothers are the first people in verses to play a song from the 50s and the 2010s. I mean, the 2000s, because "Oh, I Make You Wanna Shout," that's a 50 song, and you got the Contagious song that came out in the early 2000s. It's like the fact that you can have that much timeliness from the 50s to just a couple years ago and keep that going. That's something I feel like is missing. And that question comes up, why do you think, or maybe you even disagree with this, but I feel like R&B mainstream wise is not at the place that it was during those eras. Like if you take the 70s, I could name you so many people from Al Green and Bobby Womack and Ozzy Brothers and Earth, Wind and Fire, but like all of them, Anita Baker, all of them were in the same decade. Think about the R&B music mainstream that came out 2010. Do we really have that plethora of artists of ambitious music that's being made? I would disagree heavily. And if you agree, I'm curious of why you think that R&B has regressed so much in the mainstream. Because of course you got people like you and other people, but in the mainstream, why is it like it is?
I feel like one of the things, there's a few things. I feel like one, the balance between art, technology, and trend is skewed.
Mm.
It's a lot more focused on technology and trend. And I feel like the art part is more pretentious than anything.
But before you go on, can you please explain the technology part? I get the trend part, but what do you mean the progression of technology, or what do you mean exactly?
Meaning before, if you wanted to make a record, you had to go to a studio. They had to have this whole gear rig, like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of gear to make a song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you had to know how to play some. You had to know play some chords. You had to know some kind of music theory. You know, typically you had some form of voice training, whether it was church or whatever. It's another thing. That's a huge thing. I'll get to that later. But yeah, like so now. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse because I can make a whole album with the comfort of my own room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which is great. But at the same time, it also makes the filter a lot more wide, so anyone can get in. You know what I mean? So there's that. I think the other thing is, and this is arguable, but this is just a theory of mine. I feel like that we're running out of musical real estate, meaning like there's been so many songs written, there's been so many melodies written, and although it's like kinda endless, but it's kinda not. It's like, especially if we're listening to the same things and copying the same things, it's like we're dragging ourselves into one space, and we're not going to be able to take from here and take from there and take from here. Really, kind of. That's why I'm like, let me get out of here while the getting's good, and experiment with other things because I don't want to run out. I don't want my sound to sound too, focused. And then the third thing, church. When it comes to R&B, like a lot of these singers, the majority of the great ones came from church. You know what I'm saying? Where they had to sing loud in choir, and they had a solo every now and again, and whatever you sang had to move somebody. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like that so much. These kids ain't going to church. They're like, they're doing their tarot cards, whatever. It's fine, whatever. But it is what it is, So I come from I'm in a weird pocket because I didn't sing in church, but I was there.
Yeah.
I played in church, so I listened to commission, you know what I mean? So I understand the importance of all of these different things. I want to balance the art, trend, and technology. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to venture off and try different melodies, different tonal systems, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I also need to go to church. And I recognize the importance of gospel as it pertains to R&B.
Oh, gospel is so, bro. I got into my first and only ever car accident listening to gospel music, bro.
Wow.
Which kind of scarred me. I was like, do I want to listen to gospel music? But
wow.
I would listen to I think it sounds like it was the "You can be whatever you be, put your hands to the sky, baby." It's the
Oh yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. Everybody knows that song. I would listen to that, and I slammed on the brakes so hard, and I like grazed this lady. It wasn't a bad accident at all, so I was fine. But gospel,
Yeah,
bro,
Angels looking out.
they was, bro, and I reiterate so much. It's funny when I see Kanye. He had white people that ain't never been to church. Just was at the little Sunday service. They was pop locking and happy. I'm like, it's crazy to see like this happening right now because,
Yeah.
man, I love gospel music, bro. It's one of my favorite genres of all time, and it's the importance of it, like you said, within R&B. One of the he's considered arguably the greatest singer of all time. People say Sam Cooke got one of the most beautiful voices of all time. He started off as a strictly gospel singer before he veered off into more secular music. So
Yeah.
I would agree, and I guess just kind of add my 2 cents. You basically touched on everything, but my main two reasons on why it is where it is today is one, people just can't sing, and when you sing, like you said, you gotta move somebody in church when you sing. You just can't be just singing. Like you gotta have the old ladies throwing their hat up and fall. You really gotta have them feeling it. And
Yeah.
two, I feel like it's the lack of instrumentation. So when you take away
Mm-mm.
instrumentation and knowing how to sing, where's the soul? Like we make soul music. That's black music. It comes from the soul.
Mm.
When you listen to that guitar, when you listen to the Ozzy Brothers play the guitar, or they playing the bass, or they playing the piano, or the trumpet, or whatever. Is live instruments evoke emotion. So if you take away that and you
Mm.
take away the soul out of a human voice, where's the soul
Mm.
anymore? That's
Mm.
how I feel.
Yeah. I That makes sense. You know, another part of me thinks about how maybe in 50 years, 808s are just not in anymore. It's a thing of the past. They're using some other thing,
Imagine.
and then they're like, man, we got to get back to those days where we was using 808s. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of time has transpired, and of course, it's easy for us to look at the 80s and the 90s being so cool because we're in 2021. So I go back and forth between like, is it just because hindsight is 2020?
Nah, we not romanticizing the past, bro. People do that, but we ain't doing it with music, bro. I promise you, bro. I promise you,
I know
bro.
we're not, but I'm saying I wonder if that plays a factor. A big part of me does believe that the quality of music done in days past was better, but at the same time, if we take a look at lyricism in the 90s with R&B music,
Lyricism in the 70s, though, I feel like was better than
incredible,
the 90s.
incredible,
So
incredible.
yeah, so I would agree
No,
with you
for
there.
sure.
I would agree with you
But
there.
I'm saying, like that point where the balance goes, it always, whenever there's a new trend, this is what I've learned. But this is maybe a theory, another theory. A lot of the best music was written in the middle of the decade.
The middle of each decade.
Yeah,
Like
this is my. So I'll put it this way. You think about a decade. Once you're in the middle of it, you're like, okay, we're in this time. We're in the 2010s, or we're in the 90s, or whatever. So it's like we're fully in our bag here. We're embracing whatever this is. We're not too much looking forward to this new thing of 2000.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because if you listen to music from 1999, people were trying to be very, very futuristic. You could hear it. Like, adding all these sounds, doing all these little polyrhythms. Like, they were trying to sound like the future. They were trying to look like the future
yeah.
visually, which is cool. I appreciate that part too. But I look at the middle of the decades, I feel like that's when they were really fully in their craft. 95 is my favorite year of hip hop.
What came out
You know
in
what I'm
95?
Like KRS One album, 94 had Illmatic. Like 94, 96 was just like great. One of those Tupac albums dropped, I can't remember. This is a lot of great music in 95. So yeah, I mean, even in the 2010s, I feel like a lot of my favorite music of the 2010s came out like 2015, 2016.
2015 was a crazy year. What came out 2015? Didn't Frank drop 2015, or was that 2016?
I believe so. Yeah, Drake dropped.
I think he dropped
What was
Views
that
for
album?
2015. Are you talking about? Are you talking about? If you're reading this, you're
I
too
thought
late.
Views was after. I'm thinking Take Care. Not Take Care.
If reading this is too late, are you talking about not take? You talking about so not so far gone? You talking about the
Too
baby
Late
thing?
came out in 2014, I think. And then that was a great record. I'm thinking of one of my favorite ones.
You're talking about the where he's the baby and he's looking at the sky or whatever. You talking about that one?
No,
No.
no. This is dad on the cover.
Oh, you're talking about More Life.
More
Was
life.
that like? I thought that was 2018.
Was it?
Let me
Am I
look it up.
tripping?
Hold on. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up. But I swear that was like really old or really like recent. Let me see. More Life came out in 2017.
Okay.
2017. 2017.
Okay. Interesting.
That's
Yeah,
good.
I mean,
That's a good album though.
good album. I mean, honestly, I just like two songs from that album really like a lot.
I feel like I can guess the ones you like. You
Okay,
probably
let's guess.
you probably like I just want to do this. I'm not saying this is one you like, but I like Free Smoke just because it samples one of my favorite R&B artists of all time. Shout out to Napalm. Don't know if you're up on
Okay.
Napalm, but I love
Yeah.
Napalm. But I'm gonna say maybe you like Blim. I feel like you like Blim. I'm feeling Blim for real.
Blim's cool.
Okay.
It's not my favorite though.
I don't know. I was really banking on Blim. What you like to
Blim?
hear?
Nah. Blim's good though, but nah.
Which one? I don't know. I give up.
Sacrifices.
Sacrifice. That's a fire song.
Sacrifices is my jam. That's when I first became a Young Thug fan. I
Oh,
was like,
Thug verse on there is crazy, bro.
that Thug verse is insane.
That's a crazy Thug verse, man.
That Thug verse is crazy, and Portland too. That's
Okay. That's okay. That's not bad. That Thug verse, that stole the show for me. But I was like, yo, this nigga's the best.
I was like, okay, I get it. Oh, I get it now. I get it.
But no, I feel you though. Like I think, like you said, people are trying to get adjusted to the new decade. At the beginning, the middle, they're like, all right, this is what we doing. At the end of the decade, they trying some new stuff out. So I think that's the way it goes for sure. But hey man, hopefully this decade can be one of them ones. Maybe we could turn back the hands of time and go back to the '70s, man. Because looking at that Isley Brothers thing, bro, that was crazy.
I think it's gonna be one of the greatest decades in music.
Really.
Yeah, I think it may be better than the 2010s. Only because I feel like we just had a daggone or we're still in a pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's like there's been a lot of emotion. There's been a lot of like hard times and experiences, and it's just weird. A lot of things are going on. So I feel like that prompts a lot of meaningful music. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, yeah, for sure.
I feel like a lot of healing music will be made in this decade. We'll see.
Hey, we'll see. Shout out to Kendrick to Pimp Butterfly. That was my healing album of the last decade. That was one of the ones right there.
Maybe top 5 record of the whole decade.
That's an album right there. And hey man, like I said, I don't want to keep you for too long. When we get off here, I'm definitely gonna send you the Matt Clare dude. I'm very interested in what you think about
Yes,
him.
please do.
But yeah, any last words you guys say for the people watching? Let it be known.
Man, try to be honest with yourself. Pray daily. Be nice to people. Cut down on processed foods.
Hey, I appreciate that message. Until next time. Hey, by the way, didn't know you were such a wholesome guy, man. Shout out to you for being a wholesome
Oh,
dude,
man.
man.
Thanks, bro.
You know, it's
I hope
funny.
so.
I don't really like to curse unless I'm on camera because I feel like sometimes cursing makes like jokes funnier. And when you
It does.
and when you
It
say you don't
does.
curse, I was like, damn, I'm saying so much profanity to this young man ears, man.
You're to be if I'm being like 100, like if I'm with my homies or whatever, it'll slip out. But
For sure,
I'm just
for
trying to be good.
Hey, and I appreciate that, man. So for everybody watching right now, hopefully you appreciate it. Until next time, I say what I mean what I say. Haters gonna hate, players gonna play, and y'all holla at your boy.